Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer, food maker, or artisan selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast.
I'm Catt Fields White.
And I'm Brijet Myers. We're longtime farmers market managers, educators, and consultants. Get ready to catch up on all things farmers market pros with us. Today, we're chatting about spring happenings and what comes next on Tent Talk.
Today's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is supported by Farmers Market University, offering a self-paced online market management 101 course for new market managers year-round, and live market management certification classes annually. Learn the skills you'll need to manage a new market or improve your current market operations and reduce your stress. Find more information about current course offerings by clicking the Farmers Market University logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Well, welcome back to Tent Talk, everybody. And by welcome back, we mean welcome back to an original episode after our little run of spotlight episodes from years past.
I mean, that's given us a little space.
Yes, we've needed a little breather, all right, everybody?
That's right.
Nothing's wrong. We just needed we needed to gather ourselves.
Needed to gather ourselves up and launch again. So if you've noticed, and maybe you haven't noticed, because some of those spotlight episodes were that last one was from 2019.
Yeah, but
so
still relevant.
Still very relevant. But some of you might not have been around back then, so it would have been new to you. Some of you are old like me, and even though you may have listened back then, you've forgotten it.
That's right. It's new to you.
New to you.
New again.
New again. Yeah, so we were looking back at some of our older episodes and found out that there's some of them that are still just so relevant and so valuable, and we may have a big part of our audience that's missed them. So it wasn't entirely to give us a break, although it was that, but it's valuable to kind of bring that material back up.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep doing that.
We're going to keep doing that. And we always kind of select those spotlight episodes very carefully and based on what's going on and what would be most helpful during this time, or just maybe something that's relevant to us. I know our on-site market manager, Tristan, just told me that she listened to the pirate vendor episode, which was a spotlight. It's a repeat episode, but it was really relevant to her the last couple of weeks at all the markets. She's had to kind of utilize those tools to help with some folks that were there uninvited. And she was like, it was so helpful, even though she's listened to that before. We've aired it before. So to go ahead and listen to those spotlight episodes. You never know what you're going to relearn.
It's true. Actually, that one worked out nicely because we had a pirate vendor meme the same week.
Yeah.
And we had so many people that commented on that meme or commented in our private group that said, oh, I forgot about that episode. And yes, this is a huge thing. And can you believe it? Somebody was trying to sell puppies at the side of my market.
Honestly, we aired that episode, that meme came out. And then the next day at my market, I haven't had a big issue. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. There was 6 pirate vendors. I was like, did everybody just look? And they're like, oh, they want us to come. We're going to come all today.
Listen to the whole episode, people.
I was telling my vendors at the market, I'm like, is this a joke? Did these people come to punk me? But then I was like, I felt really good. I'm like, I have the tools to talk to them. Had some very good conversations. It all worked out fine. But I just couldn't stop laughing all day. Every time I turned around, there was another one. That meme was so funny.
It is funny.
Who are you? I just said that to them.
Did you just say that to them?
Yeah, and they were like, why are you saying that? I'm like, oh, you didn't see the meme? Thought you saw it.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of those are oldies but goodies.
Oldies but goodies.
Yeah, so I think probably generally speaking, depends. Sometimes we have really timely episodes that we have to air on a certain date. But generally speaking, probably the second week of the month, second Monday of the month, we're going to have a spotlight episode for a while.
Yeah, we're reevaluating the time that we have to really come up with and record and produce quality episodes. And we want to make sure we're not just recording something to fill a day and bring back that old material that's really relevant, because these things come up again, or they come up for new market managers that are just tuning in, or maybe you're a new listener. So we're just going to pop those in once a month.
And there's just such a crazy big archive of content.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're at almost 300 episodes now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot.
Exactly. So it's not like we're just airing stuff from, 2023. It's there's a lot of stuff to choose from. We've been recording every single week for almost 6 years.
Yeah, we're going into our 6th year.
Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, we have a lot of great stuff to share. So keep an ear out for those.
That's right. Along with our brand new stuff.
Yes.
So meanwhile, while we've been running some spotlight episodes, which, by the way, are not are not effort-free. We still have to re-edit them. We have to do new graphics. We've got to repost them. So, yeah, that's taken a little bit of time. But not recording brand new episodes for whatever the 4 or 5 weeks that we did Spotlights has given us a little bit of time. So what else have we been doing with that time?
Yeah, we, I've been doing great stuff at my market, like moving the entire thing over a couple streets for a special event in the Little Italy neighborhood. I know I've talked about this before. I think we just did an episode actually about moving a market. So I just had to move my whole market at the end of April. So did that. It actually went off very smoothly. The city came out and took those bike bollards out like they said they would for the first time ever. Past couple of years, they have been not fulfilling on their end of the bargain with those, and it's been tricky. But they did do that, and the Art Walk team, Art Walk is an art festival that happens every year here in Little Italy, and they did a great job coordinating with me, and the vendors were all really happy. It was a super beautiful, sunny day after some kind of drizzly weather we've had here, so it was a great weekend.
Actually, it was just a few weeks after you had to close a market 2 hours in.
That's right.
Because you had such extreme weather.
Yes, that's also what we had. We had to close the Saturday market at 10 a.m. We opened at 8 o'clock, and it was the first time. I can't remember if we've closed that. There was another rainy day that happened in like 2010.
I feel like we closed a Saturday market. We've closed a Saturday market like at noon.
Yeah, it was like later in the day because I think it started. Yeah, it was like flooding.
I mean, weather's gotten more severe, and so
weather's gotten
things
more
reach
severe
ahead more quickly.
And it was very like flash floody. Also, the forecast is just never accurate. So I was like, hey, we're opening. Like, I don't really believe this forecast because I never do. And most of the time, it doesn't happen as severely as they say it's going to. So everyone came. I literally had 2 people call out. Of course, they didn't say it because of the weather, but I'm sure it was.
Rain flew.
But at 2 out of 187 vendors, it's like they all came. Everyone was actually in a great mood. Like all the vendors were like, "Hey, that's fine. Like we know it's not going to be great weather today. Like we brought our modified setup. Let's do this." We all had rain jackets. It was great.
Well, and we have our shoppers trained because we just never close.
Yeah,
we have them trained that we will be there rain or shine because those farmers got to harvest and bakers already baked and you need groceries. So they are great about coming out even if it's raining. The folks that are coming out just to take a selfie or listen to a busker, they may not show up in the rain, but the folks that rely on us for grocery shopping, they come out every week.
We had
a good crowd.
Yeah, we had a good crowd there. A lot of the farmers did well for those first 2 hours, really like 2.5 hours because they get early shoppers. So there's folks out there at 7:30. It was Easter weekend. So
that's right.
It was such a bummer because that's usually such a huge weekend for like our bakers and our flour growers, all meat vendors, everybody who's there that has, stuff for families to cook and make a big meal for the holiday. And also just folks that are in town to visit and they are, want to come out and do something. So people were still out there. They're like, we're visiting and we grabbed a poncho at 7-Eleven and came on out. So it was pretty great. And then it started raining a little harder.
Wind.
And then the wind was really why I made the call to shut everything down because I saw tents that had great heavy weights on them kind of lift up a little bit when the wind came through. Even though they were heavily weighted, they were still kind of like lifting off the ground. And that just kind of scared me. And the vendors were getting a little nervous. And then we had... The drainage in San Diego in general is horrid. And on one of the blocks of the market has like no drainage and booths were filling up with water. It was a little Noah's Ark situation.
It was.
And
I remember getting the call, actually. Yeah. I was on the other side of the country laying Easter eggs out in a park for our neighborhood Easter egg roll in Philly.
Yeah.
And
just having a grand old time.
Yeah.
And
it was sunny.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the phone rings. Brijet never calls me unless it's an emergency. So I was a little nervous.
We don't answer our phones, just FYI. It's genetic.
Yeah. Go ahead and text.
Yeah.
With phone calls, that's not what we use our phones for.
Nope.
But yeah. Hey, can I get a second opinion? Here's what's happening.
I just go, okay, this is my call, but I need to just double check that I'm making the right call. Because a couple of vendors were like, are we leaving? But nobody was like, we're out of here. Like no one was demanding that I say it's okay for them to go. But the vendors were just like confused. And I was looking at the sky like, is this going to stop soon? And so I called Catt and said, I should close right now, right? And she's like, I don't know. It's sunny.
Sounded like a good decision, though, when you described it.
Although,
I will say, didn't some of your vendors say, hey, can we just stay?
Yes. At least 2 of the vendors, because we all kind of split up and all the staff kind of just watched separate blocks. So I was up at the top of the market. But 2 of the vendors were like, oh, can we just stay open? Like, we're fine. And I go, I guess. Like, that's less cars kind of pulling in to break down in the middle of the day. And so they just stayed open. And then the weather did, like, it didn't, like, turn into a beautiful sunny day, but the rain it was just, like, sprinkling, you know, after,
Wind
like, an
calmed
hour.
down a little.
Yeah, the wind super calmed down, like, died. And people came out and they were walking around. And so those vendors just, like, stayed set up. Our cheese gal stayed, like, fully set up on the piazza. She was there when I left. I stayed till everybody left except for her. I'm like, I'm leaving. She wasn't on a street. She was part of our markets in a piazza. So I was like, I don't need to, like, open up the street right now. So you can, she's like, can I stay? I go, sure. So she was selling cheese left and right. And yeah, so everyone, actually, it was kind of a testament to, like, building a really strong farmers market family and really building those relationships because they all trusted me to make the right call when the time was right. I trusted them to show up and the shoppers trusted them to show up. And yeah, it was just, there wasn't really anybody, like, angry.
Yeah.
It was just like, man, it was Mother Nature. What are you going to do? You know? She was pissed.
Can you blame her? No.
Absolutely not.
Mother Earth is just, we have not treated her well, and she's paying us back.
Yeah. So as financially, the financial impact of that day was really rough for me. And I was very much sympathizing with the vendors because they also took a big hit. But then some of them were like, oh, man, I had to pay my employee to be there. I'm like, I have 5 employees here, plus the 3 maintenance guys, plus the 5 traffic control. I'm like, yes, I'm paying so many people right now and not bringing in any income in the end. So it is what it is. It happens.
We're very lucky because it doesn't happen often.
Yes. It like I said, this is very, very rare occurrence. So hopefully it won't happen again. But that was a little trial tribulation to go through and took a lot of work just to kind of, like, clean up the invoicing and send out the notices and all that kind of stuff and get resettled. So that was, at the end of March what I was doing. And then just, of course, prepping for the move at the end of our walk. We had our vendor party. Which was actually kind of nice. We had it 3 weeks after the closure. We do an annual party like we've said before. And I just kind of rented out the patio at a restaurant in the neighborhood. And everyone came over after the market. And it was so fun.
I got so many comments. I was at the market a few days ago. And I had so many comments from people saying, oh, my gosh, because I missed it this year. It's the first vendor party that I've missed. And they said, oh, you can't believe it. It was so amazing. Brijet treated us so well and we had such a good time. So they were very happy about that party.
My general orientation is like, I throw money at something so I don't have to, like, put a bunch of effort into it.
Yeah. Like, I would be hauling boxes of wine and kegs of beer.
Yes.
Brijet's like, we're renting a restaurant. We're not dealing with any of that.
Like, I rented a patio. The chef made all the food. We had a bar. I just gave everyone a drink ticket. I'm like, I didn't have to do anything. Because working for Catt for years and years and years, driving around to different places, picking up multiple pizzas that are donated, multiple buckets of salad, my husband's bartending.
No, we paid for those pizzas.
Well, we got some donated, like, in addition to that. But that's why we had to go to different places.
Right.
Because some of them were giving them to us instead of just, like, one delivery. I'm like, let's just have Domino's deliver. I think I did that last one. I'm like, Domino's is delivering. I'm not driving around.
Because that's artisan food, heaven knows.
This is how I feel.
You gotta do it what you can.
And we're tired. It's the day. It's like after the market is when we have these parties. So anyways, it was good. It was good to mix it up a little bit. But everyone was very appreciative. We had such a good time. Again, beautiful day. A lot of farmers and vendors came. Not everybody could come because they had to go do something like drop-offs afterwards or deliveries or, Yeah,
there's always a few people that can't.
Yeah.
But you get good turnout.
Yeah, we got a really great turnout. Staff had a great time. So that was really nice to do after.
You have gotten a little bit of your time freed up. Didn't you change up your duties at the incredibly involved PTC organization?
Yes, I'm having my school volunteer retirement party pretty soon. I have been the chairperson of a extremely large-scale annual event at my child's school for 7 years, followed by 2 years of foundation and PTC, which is like the PTA at their school, president role, which has been...
So pretty much doing what we do as market managers, but for free on the side in addition to managing markets.
It is a full-time job and a half, and it has been a lot of work. Very fulfilling work, and I very much enjoy it, and I've learned a lot. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, so I've had to be the director of this board that runs that at the school, and we bring in over $300,000 every year for the school. We pay for all the art and garden instructors and all that good stuff that public schools don't get anymore. Want.
That's our next That's our next venture and podcast is PTC Pros.
PTC Pros. I know. I'm like, if this was, if people made money this way, I could do it.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm kind of retiring that off. I have some great people coming in to fill my shoes, and I'll still, my youngest is still going to be at the school, but I do feel like my life is going to feel very different not having that going
on
in the
less full-time
background.
job.
Yes, because my job is very full-time. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Kicked one child into adulthood.
Yes. I feel like you're interviewing me now about what I'm up to.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Bridget's Life Update podcast episode. Yes. Well, that was your grandchild and my child.
Right.
My oldest child graduated college. So
Exciting.
Very exciting. And yes, one less kid on my payroll, per se. So she graduated. That was really great. And yeah, just life is busy heading into the summer season. And
That's right.
Market-wise, we're opening up a new section of the market that was open pre-COVID. And then when we opened back up after COVID, the city said they were going to do like a special renovation project in this little adjacent area. And so we just kind of put that on hold and we're like, okay, we're not going to open back up to vendor spaces. But then they just kind of notified us that they're putting that on the back burner, possibly forever. And so we have this space available now. So
Because heaven knows the Mercado isn't big enough.
I'm like, do I need to add more? And this is how I'm feeling too. Like I said, like our market family is just so like smooth. Like everyone's very in tune. We have a nice like ebb and flow going at the market. Like I don't have any problem children at the moment. Like the vendors are all so wonderful and we're all getting along. It's like, do I want to add more vendors to this mix? But I have a lot of folks that are trying to get in and I hate saying no to all these people. So it'd be really nice to say, yes, I do have a space for you coming up. So that's happening at the end of the month.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, be great.
What have I been up to this spring?
Yes. What about the cat life update?
That's right.
Where have you been? First of all, I haven't seen you in a long time.
That's true. I was at the Mercado the other day and actually at the Chula Vista Market yesterday, and people were like, wait, you're still here.
You're alive.
Yeah, still here. Still here. They're like, I think it's been a long time since I've seen you, which the Saturday market's so big, even when I was here all the time, some people would like not notice me for weeks because they'd be busy with customers when I strolled by their section of the market. But I actually have been kind of out and about some. Mm-hmm. I think I've mentioned before, I'm now bi-coastal, so I'm in Philly half the time or half-ish time. You would think that would come in very organized, regularly scheduled changes from San Diego to Philly and back, but it doesn't because, grandchildren graduate and something exciting happens at the market or there's a conference I've got to go to. So I'm just like a little ping pong, ping, 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 back and forth across the country.
Very like Carmen San Diego. It's like, where in the world is Catt Fields White?
That's right.
We don't know. I have to look at
I have to look it up.
Calendar, look at your location. Where are you?
Yeah. So I've been doing it was conference season. So our conference kicks off. We're not the earliest conference in the country when it comes to farmers market regional conferences and small farm conferences and things, but we're towards the top of the typical springtime conference schedule. So once we wrapped up Intense, I have been on the road and speaking online for other conferences. I did live feeds to the Pennsylvania Farmers Market Conference. I just did a cool live feed where people could interact. It was a two-way live feed, which was cool. We haven't done that with Intense. Intense, we broadcast out. Mm-hmm. But this way, they could also respond to me. So we could carry on a conversation online. It was kind of interesting. It looked complicated and expensive. It crossed my mind for like 2 minutes that we should do this with Intense. And I thought, or maybe not. But anyway, it was cool. It was cool.
Thank you.
That's right.
Leandra and I, thank you for that.
Thank you. But that was for the Manitoba Farmers Market Conference, which would have been fun to go to, but it was kind of far away.
Yeah.
I made the trip to Columbus for the Ohio Farmers Market Network Conference. That was fun. Mm-hmm. That was the first conference I'd ever been at where the organizers showed us a couple hours in the path to the tornado shelter because the weather was going crazy and we thought that we might have a tornado at any moment. And so that kind of upped the stakes. And I got to say, the people that stuck it out through the conference to listen to me and the other wonderful presenters, I mean, they were committed.
It's like those vendors that shop in the rain at the rainy market.
That's right.
It's like no matter what.
Yeah. So thanks, Ohio, for that little bit of excitement. And then I went on to Birmingham, Alabama for Main Street Now. That's always a big, huge conference. It's not all farmers market people, but there's an amazing number of Main Street districts, which are a certain brand of community organization, an amazing number of those. have farmers markets included in their districts. So I got to talk to lots and lots of people. There's something like 2,000 people there this year. And
I love that conference.
It is a great conference.
I was really sad to miss it. I had my daughter's graduation prep going on and just a million other things at the market. I couldn't make it this year, but it is a really great conference. And I love it, not just for all the farmers market stuff, which is really rich and I get to talk to so many people, but just the community sessions that they have about building community. And they're talking about business districts, but I feel like it's all very relevant to farmers markets.
Very relevant to us. And I think you and I both have been sort of extended. When we're doing farmers markets in a community, we tend to end up on the community organization or the business district's board.
Yeah.
I think, and because we've always been involved with our kids and the schools and just community active kind of people, all that placemaking information and community redevelopment information is just personally interesting to you and I. So Brijet and I, oftentimes, if we're both at that conference, one of us will be in the booth and the other will be sneaking into one of those sessions and picking up some good new information. So it's a little tough doing it by myself this year. I will say that Chris from MarketWorks had the booth next to mine. And so it was very handy for us to sort of cover each other and share each other's information. And so that was nice. The good news is you get to come back to Main Street now next year, and next year it's going to be in Philadelphia. So easy for me.
So easy. I have a place to stay.
Exactly. Very simple. So that'll be nice.
I'll be excited to be there next year.
So it's fun to kind of combine personal stuff and market visits around the country. Wherever I'm going, I always search out the farmers markets. I did a tour with some folks from Main Street of Birmingham's Pepper Place Market because that's always been one of my favorite markets. We have Brijet's brother and his wife and 2 little grandchildren in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is, just a little bit more than an hour south of Birmingham. So we were able to go down and get a visit in with that part of the family. That was fun. And of course, I visited markets while I was there, as I do when I'm on the road.
Of course.
Yeah.
Everywhere we go.
Columbus was the only bummer. There were no markets in the Columbus area that were open while I was there because they're seasonal, and it was just a little bit too early. Yeah,
bummer.
So I'll have to go back there and check out the markets.
Mm-hmm.
But I made it back to San Diego in time for Naomi's graduation, so that was awesome. So I've gotten to see some family stuff. And while I've been in Pennsylvania this last little stretch, my husband and I were able to go up and get a cabin up in one of the river towns, kind of an hour and a half, 2 hours out of Philly. So I'm getting to know that East Coast country and the woods and the places to hang out there since I haven't been a Pennsylvania resident for very long. So that's been a fun exploration, a little bit of that.
Go check things out in your new home turf.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to conferences, I've been keeping up with my consulting work. So I work with Oregon Farmers Market Association as a technical advisor for their FMPP grant. And for the Lancaster Central Market, same thing. I'm part of their FMPP grant. Same thing with Koppel Farmers Market, who we do a Vendor 101 program for. That's part of a grant. So anybody out there that's just turned in their FMPP grant and is going to need technical assistance when you win that grant, and we know you will, we're rooting for you, you know who to get in touch with. We just had a big group come out because they're coming to a placemaking or business improvement district kind of conference thing in September. But they came out a little bit early and toured through the Mercado on Saturday with me. Mm-hmm. And they were actually surprised to learn that I do consulting. So if anybody else is listening out there that doesn't know that, I do consulting. So if you need a little one-on-one help or group consulting with your market or a market evaluation or a feasibility study or a strategic plan, you know who to call.
1-800 Catt Fields White.
That's right. There you go.
That was great to talk to them, too, because they came in a little bit early and kind of walked with me a little bit and just asked me some questions during setup because they're moving their big market that's in a park onto a city street.
Right.
And so they're just looking for, strategically, how do you do that? It's a huge market.
They were fascinated how we use our team there, and you have each of your team members on a block, so kind of block captaining. They thought that made a ton of sense, and they just hadn't realized that that's a good idea because they hadn't done that kind of piece before. But yeah, that does make it smooth.
They're like, how does everyone drive in and unload their stuff and not get stuck on the street? I'm like, I know, it's like a little magical.
It's an art and a science.
It's an art and a science, but yeah, somehow it works, somehow it flows. So it's good to talk to somebody who with experience, like yourself. To talk about those things and just get those tricks ahead of time so you don't have to learn them the hard way.
That's right. Yep. For sure. And I'm still active actually building our newest market, which is it's not technically in San Diego, but it's really sort of part of the San Diego metro area. It's between where we are in downtown with Little Italy and the Mexican border because, we're very close to Mexico here. So that's a newer market. We just turned 2. Yeah, so that was exciting. I do a lot of that remote. I'm still doing all the curating, which is kind of one of my specialties. But we have a terrific manager on duty that's on site at the market, and she's been there since the beginning, and she does a wonderful job. So between me being online and popping in physically some of the time and Tristan being there every week, which is amazing, and Ingrid, that's a bilingual market in terms of our management and things. That's been good. And I think that's one of the things that helps to keep Tent Talk and what we do at the conference and things relevant is that Brijet and I are both still truly active farmers market managers. Yeah. We're still schlepping barricades and popping tents, as we like to say.
Every time I schlepp a barricade, I think about how our Tent Talk intro, Catt used to say, still schlepping barricades. I go, here I am, still schlepping barricades. I broke a nail the other week. And I was like, should wear my gloves. Yep.
So I still got that going on. Family stuff. We like to give the kids experiences and not more stuff in their house. So I've still got I got a Legoland trip I got to coordinate.
My youngest is hounding Catt. When are we going to Legoland?
Soon, Kevin, soon. We're going to Legoland soon. And for Mother's Day, I got a little free library dedicated to me by the grandkids. So I will have to keep reading and keep popping books in there.
Very sweet gift. Yeah. They love that so much. Good stuff. We'll both be in Phoenix for my daughter's graduation party because I have sister-in-laws that are the same age as my daughter, just in a family tree branch type of way. And so we're going to have a big party in Phoenix, and my staff is all just thinking of all the reels they're going to post on Instagram about what the staff does when the boss is out of town.
When the Catt and the Brijet are away, mice will play.
And they're going to be fine. And all you vendors listening better not give them a hard time.
And meanwhile, while we're on our little break where we were running Spotlight episodes, our producer / interior designer, Leandra, has redesigned our podcast pod. We do this in a very technical, scientific shed in the driveway of our office. Soundproof.
A little bomb shelter,
But Leandra has posted many of the market bags that I have collected from around the country. Every time Brijet or I travel, we are at markets and we try to grab as many bags as possible. And you'll get a picture of that soon. It's pretty fun. That will give us a chance to work on some new things coming up. So what's new coming up for Farmers Market Pros?
Well, I know everyone's been clamoring and waiting and wondering and calling, even though we're not answering, asking where the next Intense conference will be. So
at the conference, we mentioned that we were considering moving the conference to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
So anybody want to know where the 2025 conference will be? San Diego.
San Diego.
We did a lot of surveys. We surveyed the people that came to the conference. We surveyed the people that attended the conference online because, it's a hybrid conference. We surveyed people that did neither through our email newsletter things. We said, okay, if you didn't come to the conference, why not? Was it expense? Was it you're just too busy? Do you have too small a staff? Do you have small children? You can't travel.
Yeah.
So we get all kinds of interesting answers. And one of the questions that we ask is, would you be more inclined to come to the conference if it was in San Diego, Washington, D.C.? We had a couple other cities in there. We've considered Atlanta sometimes. And the overwhelming response is stay in San Diego.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, it was amazing. It wasn't like a little bit more people. It wasn't borderline.
No. And there was lots of pitchforking happening when you said it might move. And I think the people that come regularly and folks that were there for the first time this year in San Diego were just outraged at the thought of us not having it in sunny San Diego, because as a San Diegan, I forget that it's fun to travel to places that aren't freezing cold and snowing and raining and all that stuff in March. And so I think that they were like, no, this is wonderful. Why are we changing wonderful? But we have had folks that have tuned in online or have just been really disappointed that they can't attend because they really can't travel to the other side of the country. So we were trying to figure that out.
Yeah, we were trying to see if it would make some sense to make it a little bit more accessible for our East Coast followers or for people, on the eastern end of the Midwest or the Southeast and that kind of thing. But as it turns out, and we did have some folks that said, yeah, it would be great to be over on the East Coast. It would make it easier for me. We had some folks that said, oh, it'd be cool to alternate it. We had someone that suggested that we keep it in San Diego except for Farm Bill years because it could be fun to have a whole bunch of us in Washington, D.C. during Farm Bill negotiations.
Super smart.
We can show up with the pitchforks and the torches and the hose.
Let's do it. The fertilizer.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, boy. Now we're going to get FBI coverage. No fertilizer, which you didn't mean fertilizer.
So I mean like the farmers in France.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So, it's still, we haven't ruled it out that we may end up with the conference in another area at some time. But for the 9th annual conference in 2025, we are going to be in San Diego. We are considering changing our venue. We kind of feel like we've outgrown our wonderful, funky, on the port next to the boats venue that we've been at for so long. There are certain things about that venue that come back to us on surveys and that we deal with personally in terms of, having a lot of food options nearby. We bring in market vendors, but when the market vendors break down for the day or whatever, there's just not a lot of options. It's just a little bit farther from selections of restaurants and convenience stores and things than would be handy at a conference.
It's a little isolated out there.
A little bit isolated. The room itself, I mean, if we expect to grow again this year, and we're just about to the tippy-top full level at our main room where the main stage is. So I think a bigger room would be handy. The ongoing problem with there not really being decent wireless access at Marina Village has just been an issue, and it gets, it doesn't get any better.
It really is a fisherman's life over there.
It is.
It's just like kind of
right on the water, rough, which is fun.
It's gorgeous in the water. It's beautiful. And there's a lot of outdoor space, which is really wonderful, which sometimes we've tried to not be in like a hotel because we don't want everyone walking down hallways all day and being under fluorescent lights. But we have some great options that we're looking at.
Yeah, we do have some options that are good. My main kind of breaking point on why we haven't been in a hotel is because I don't want to serve hotel food.
Yeah.
And the food waste that often happens with hotel food because they don't want things to look sparse, so they put out enough for all of you, and then some people don't eat that food, and then you got waste going on. So one of the options that we're looking at is a hotel that's in not too far from Little Italy, actually, in the downtown area, on the harbor, right across from the harbor. So we still, we get to see the boats, we get to see the water. There's an area there where we may be able to set up a market Monday through Wednesday so that our farmers market vendors can still supply food. So we might not be married to hotel food there, which would be great. A lot of other options in the area. So we're holding out for that. I've got meetings with them coming right up, so we will be able to confirm our dates soon. We are, again, based on surveys, people strongly said that most folks think that early March date that we've been at for a long time works the best for them. Yeah. So we'll still be in there. We've been doing the first Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in March for a while. We may have to do a little bit of flexibility one week, one direction or another, depending on hotel availability or venue availability. But that news will come soon.
We'll have better updates soon and kind of get them out as soon as we get them. I know that Christy loves to help us every year, but I don't think she's coming back if we go back to Marina Village because they're not great about unlocking the doors on time for us in the morning for setup. That was a little traumatizing. And that was like the 3rd year in a row. So, I
will say Christy, though, was the very first person that put in a vote to not move to the East Coast, even though she lives in Pennsylvania.
That's
and Washington,
right.
D.C. would have been hella easy for her. She could have either driven really fast or you can get on a train from PA and go to D.C. so fast. But she was the first one that said, what can I do to erase that option from your mind? We really want to stay in San Diego.
She was really advocating for it. She really likes to come out here. I mean, I think it's great and it's nice for folks, Christy said this too, just to be out here and experience the markets out here. It's such a great learning experience to be in a different environment and learn something. So just for the record, Catt and I were willing to travel and do the conference in a different area. And we have heard that folks just cannot make it out to San Diego. So we did, put that out to everybody, but it's just, you got to do what the people want.
That's right. The market managers want to come back to San Diego. And I will say that there was a serious lobbying effort from the Canadians. We get a lot of Canadian attendees because our content is so amazing and because we're in San Diego in March.
So, and it is quite lovely.
Minnesotans, all those northern folks, they like San Diego. So
and we're still going to keep the hybrid model. And so even if you just absolutely cannot travel anywhere to the West Coast, you'll be able to experience the conference online.
Right. And we're going to try and pump that up this time. We did get some feedback that the online experience, just they could tell we were having a lot of fun in person. And some of that's just, hey, it's going to be more fun in person. We can't help that. Yeah. But we're going to try to do a little bit more interactive stuff and kind of some breakout kind of things on the online. We're exploring that now. So
some special online only kind of options. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
We're learning and growing.
Working on a new website. We have a web designer that's working on with that. We're going to maybe change up our branding just a little bit and our website and make it clearer. It's been the same for a while and we just keep adding things to it. We're going to try and reorganize that a little bit.
Very exciting.
one of the things we're going to do there is try to create a more robust resource partner section. Yep. So our resource partners right now are folks that started out as conference sponsors, and then they stay with us all year, and you'll hear them being sponsors of particular episodes of Tent Talk, and we mentioned them here. But we're going to try and make that more robust, more interactive, maybe look at getting you some discounts from some of those resource partners if you're a member of Farmers Market Pros. So working with that.
Yeah.
We've got a partnership with Farmers Market University because we've always intended to do a Market Manager 101 course, but we haven't gotten around to it. Our list is too long. Meanwhile, they have produced one that we like. We're going to contribute a little bit to foofing that up in a couple of different areas. And then we're going to work together to make those classes and our Vendor 101 classes more available nationwide. So make it relevant for both people. We're going to update some of the regional resources in both of those courses so that the permitting and food safety and things, rules that are specific to your area will be more clear within those courses if you're purchasing it from somewhere outside of our regional areas.
Yeah.
While we're doing that, we're going to update Vendor 101 a little bit this year. We're going to work on a Vendor 102 course. We've had a lot of requests for that, and we've got a client, a market management group in Texas, for whom we produced a custom Vendor 101 class. We do that, by the way. That's like consulting. That's one of those things that people don't always seem to realize, but that's one of the things we do. We can customize Vendor 101 for your organization, add your regional permitting requirements and things, talk about your market in a customized intro. So we're doing that for some folks in Texas, and what they have asked, in addition to wanting to continue with their customized Vendor 101, is that we develop a Vendor 102 for existing vendors that focuses more on display, bookkeeping, things that you need to know as you remain in markets for a longer period of time. So that's coming. And we're going to change up our email newsletter format, schedule, and platform with some new subscription options so that you can subscribe to our newsletter and to Farmers Market Pros, kind of a membership thing, kind of a subscription thing, and that'll make some additional content available for you with some videos and some extended podcast episodes, some other resources.
Yeah.
So much to come.
Just a few things down the
Just
chute.
a few things on the list. It's never ending. This is why we have to do a spotlight episode every once in a while.
I know Catt's not at the market anymore, and the vendor's like, oh, your mom retired. How wonderful. You could come in and take over so she could retire. I'm like, have you met my mom? She is not retired, and she doesn't know how to be retired. And
I wouldn't want to be retired.
No, that's boring.
No, that's boring.
That's so boring.
No, it's been fun to switch over to really immerse myself in the consulting side and the education side and, be able to spend a little bit more time on the conference.
Yeah, to be more focused, which I think made a difference this year, too. It was like you didn't have your hands overflowing with market stuff and managers that weren't, always there and doing what they needed to do. And so your attention was a little scattered, where now I feel like it's very focused on Farmers Market Pros, and just the content level and the offerings are just getting better and better.
Yep.
As they should.
Yeah. Loving that.
Yep.
So then what's next for you? What are you doing this year? We usually do this around January 1st and those resolution-ish kind of things. But as long as we're talking about where we've been, where we're going, you got anything special coming up soon?
I do feel like this season, like April, May, is kind of like my new year. Just because the actual new year, I'm in the middle of so much stuff that I've already, the conference and just, the holiday season, I guess, is wrapping up. But anyways, this feels like, okay, I've kind of tucked some things into bed, like moving for Art Walk, vendor party, checked all those things off the list, and then just kind of going into, of course, busy summer season. Our markets are year round, so they're busy all the time, but the summer gets that bigger tourist crowd in San Diego. So that'll be great. And then, just maybe take a nap.
Get a nap. I think,
I'm tired of thinking of it.
This might be your new year because your birthday's right now, right?
That's right.
This coming right up.
That's right.
Yeah.
41. Here we go.
Here you go.
That's
because I always consider October, my birthday's in October, and I always feel like that's my new year. That's when my resolutions and things happen.
Maybe that's why I feel that way. And,
yeah.
This time of year. So yeah, kind of like a brand new year. So yeah, just busy schedule. Like I said, I'll have more time on my hands without all the school stuff, which will be helpful, and just really focus on the market and fine tuning some things and have a great team there. I got to hire somebody for the summer and, be busy. But kids,
things.
Oh yeah, and then my kids.
And then there's those kids
those pesky
over the
kids.
summer.
No,
and you guys are doing some big family trips and things too this summer. So
yeah, we're doing one trip, so that'll be fun. But
that'll be fun.
Go to Costa Rica for a little bit.
Yep, that'll be nice. I'll be gathering various grandchildren in various places in the next few months. That'll be fun. I got a college trip coming up with one and some other meetups with some others. I got some more conference travel happening. I'm going to be in Missouri for Main Street, Missouri, the end of July. And I'm hoping to stay a few extra days and go see some of our friends in Kansas, right over the border from Missouri. If you are not a person for whom geography is a native language, take a look at a map. It's very interesting how Kansas City, straddles two states. But so I'll be visiting some of our Kansas City markets while I'm there. We're making plans for the Mid-Atlantic concert and Mid-Atlantic Conference in November, which is going to be in Virginia. I'm going to be contributing there in some way. World Farmers Market Coalition is going back to Rome. Not committed to that, but you never know what'll happen. And then the Food Corridor Conference is coming up in New Orleans in the fall, so I'll be keeping my eyes on that. And while all those distractions are happening, I'm going to try to be chaining myself to the desk and working on that book that we've been talking about for so long. Or maybe another book. I have an idea for a different book.
My lordy. I knew this was going to happen.
Right?
Oh, you know what? This is life with Catt.
Yeah. So, no, haven't retired. Plenty of things going on.
Don't plan on sitting still anytime soon. Just write a book. Do something.
Yeah, I'm
writing-wise.
I'm going to be writing.
Okay.
Concentrating on writing. I really have. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I really have turned many things down to concentrate on writing in the months to come.
It does not sound like it at
it's
all.
True.
You have a list of things that you're doing. What have you turned down?
I've turned down a lot of things.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, good for you. Boundaries are important.
Boundaries are important. I'm not co-coordinating a different conference that I was invited to do that for. I turned that down. I didn't join a board last week. I'm saying no a lot so that I can write.
Are we doing video for this episode? Because my eyes are rolling in the back of my head. But
anyway,
thank you.
That's what we're up to.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear what you're up to. Drop us a line.
Let us know. Check in with us. And thanks for listening, and tune in next week for another new episode.
That's right. Thanks for listening today, and big thanks to Farmers Market University for helping market managers hone and verify their professional skills, and for supporting Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. Learn more about their current training and certification programs by clicking the Farmers Market University logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Thanks for listening to Tent Talk today. Please leave us a review on your podcast app or wherever you listen to Tent Talk. Let us and others know how you're enjoying the podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Tent Talk. Connect with fellow Farmers Market folks in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community, and follow us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros. Find online education and other resources at farmersmarketpros.com. Tent Talk is brought to you by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Tent Talk is hosted by Catt Fields White and Bridget Myers and produced by Leandra Hayes, with original music by David Mead. Tune in next week for another great episode.